and I don't want people to think that this is just a metal guitar.
So we're taking a look at the PRS SE Mark Holcomb guitar. Now I want to put a quick disclaimer for those that follow my channel. This is not an affordable guitar. The street price for it is $1,179, so basically $1,200. Right now it is on sale for Christmas until the end of the year for $943, I believe, about $940, $950. And Sam Ash was having a sale on these where they were doing an extra 15% discount via a coupon code that you could use online. And so that would bring the price of this guitar down to $800, which at that point, pretty reasonable for me to want to check out. That being said, I want to go over the specifications of this guitar and kind of tell you a little bit about it and show it to you a little bit more up close. So we have a beautiful mahogany body. It's got a maple veneer, very, very beautiful. I forget what they call this. It's a kind of like a blue Holcomb burst or something. And a beautiful quill top, as you can see. It's got a lot of life to it, so that's nice. It also has what they call the shallow violin carve, which just means that it is slightly carved, but not obviously as deep as what you would get in a US-made instrument. You got one volume, one tone, a three-way switch. We have a coil split option there. We have the fixed bridge design, which I like. It's pretty cool. It's just like their trem, but without a trem. And then we have a Seymour Duncan set of pickups. We have the Scarlet and the Scourge and the bridge. And on the back, mahogany body, a smooth satin neck. So this has been sanded down, feels very nice. Standard PRS tuners. And then at the headstock, we have the Marl Holcomb truss rack cover, as well as the Paul Reed Smith logo with the SE. This is an ebony fretboard, so I do want to point that out, not a rosewood fretboard. And we have 22 medium jumbo frets. And another thing I want to talk about is the scale length on this guitar is, the scale length is 25.5 inches, but the radius on the guitar is 20. So it's super, super flat. And I think I covered all of my bases. This is the standard PRS synthetic graphite, whatever. Anyways, I want to give you guys some tones and then kind of look at the guitar just a little bit up close and weight it, check out a couple things, make sure that the scale length, the radius, all those things align, and give you my final thoughts after I've demonstrated how it sounds. So let's go ahead and demonstrate that for you now. Okay guys, so we have the guitar on the table, and I like to take a closer look just to see what we can find here. First thing we're going to do is just measure the guitar from the uttermost bottom point to the tallest point. The guitar measures exactly 39 inches, not counting the strap lock. If we count the strap lock, it's right at 40 inches. So yeah, basically 39 and a half. At its widest point, it measures 13, so that's the same as the PRS SE CE. As far as the neck width, let's just turn on the caliper and see what we got. We're going to go off inches here. At the 12th fret, it is 2.06 inches. I'll put whatever the conversion for that is in millimeters. And at the 1st fret, a little thinner, 1.68. And at the nut, 1.65. So one other thing I want to do is check the thickness of the body. Let's do that right now. 1.73 inches, so just slightly thinner than your typical Gibson Les Paul, which was usually about 2 inches. The other thing I'd like to do is remove the back plates just to kind of see what we have going on here. We only have one, so I can do this quickly, but let's go ahead, remove that back plate. It's not recessed, the back plate, as you can see, which is fine. I don't mind it. It's easier to get out. Here you go. And let's take a look at it. Full-size alpha pot. You just have, yep, full-size alpha pot. Wiring seems okay, and then I can see a lot of shielding paint. So at this point, you've heard the guitar with a clean tone, very distorted tone, lead tones, as well as some blues playing. And we also took a closer look at it, kind of went over some of my observations and whatnot. So at this point, I'd like to give you my final thoughts on the guitar, tell you what I think it does well, what I think is a little different from what my expectations were, and who this guitar is for and who it might not be for. So first off, we got to talk about the price point. This guitar is priced at $1,200, so $1,179. So definitely not a budget or affordable guitar by any means. It is an import, so we also have to take that into consideration. But there are some positives here that I really like about the guitar. We got to start with its appearance. It's a very beautiful top. It might just be the best looking PRS SE guitar that I've seen ever. It's hard to capture in the camera, but the veneer that they use for this is very, very vivid. It just has a lot of depth to it. And I love the Holcomb burst, or the blue burst, or whatever they call this finish. I think it's much nicer than the brisket burst that he had on the prior signature model. So long as they get it right, because I've seen some that don't have any blue on them, which is just kind of weird. But this one looks great. This is a great example of what it can look like. Speaking of aesthetics, I like the black accents, like the knobs and the switch tip just combines well with the black chrome hardware, like the bridge, the tuners. I just think the guitar overall has a very cool aesthetical look to it, and it's pretty nice. Another positive, aside from its aesthetics, I think the neck is very comfortable. The neck shape feels really good in my hands. Here's a close-up of what the neck shape is on the 1st fret, as well as the 12th fret, but feels very good, very, very comfortable. Another positive is we have a set of very versatile pickups. One thing Mark Holcomb discussed in his interview or video about this guitar is that he wanted to create this guitar with the intention that it can be used for pretty much every genre and not just necessarily a metal machine. And I have to agree in terms of versatility, it can definitely give you everything from very clean, jazzy stuff to very distorted high gain stuff. And I think it'll do most of it pretty well. Aside from the aesthetics and the pickups on it, I think the guitar is very well balanced. It's got a good weight to it. There's no neck dive or anything like that. And, it just sits very comfortably. Whether you're playing sitting down or standing up, I think it does the job well. Now, some things that are a little different from what I was expecting in terms of how my experience has been with them or how it feels. The radius is one of them. It's a 20-inch radius, so it's very, 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 very flat. Probably, it's got to be the flattest radius I've ever played on, and I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about it. It's weird. It's comfortable in some ways, but it just feels different. It's similar to playing a classical guitar. In theory, having such a flat board should help with like more complex chord shapes, down the neck and all that. I definitely felt that as I was playing the guitar. At its price point, there are some things where I think this could be a better value. I think there's a hefty premium you're paying for the artist name and package. One example is the tuners. This is definitely something that is a little disappointing in a guitar that's $1,200 not to have locking tuners. It's just outside of the pickups, this isn't really dramatically, and obviously some of the design choices, this isn't really dramatically different or an upgrade from some of the other PRS models that you can get that are way less than this one. You typically get some of those SEs for $700. There's a $400, $500 difference here. And outside of the pickups, there really isn't much more and the artist name to kind of show for it. Of course, there are things that you can only get in this guitar. This one has a fixed bridge design. Most of the other PRS SEs have a tremolo. This has the 20-inch radius, so obviously that's different. This one comes set up with 1052s tuned to drop C, and obviously that's different, right? But at this price point, a guitar made in Indonesia by Cortec, I would expect it to have locking tuners, a better quality nut. Not saying this is terrible by any means, but $10 will go a long way here. And I think those things would really benefit the guitar. I would like to see stainless steel frets on it. Again, because of the price point, I'd like to see more value out of it. But realistically, PRS is probably never going to do that because Paul has been very vocal about not liking the stainless steel frets on his guitars. So it is what it is. Honestly, if you ask me, I would rather they discard the gig back, which I don't think is as good quality as it used to be, and just sacrifice that and give us locking tuners. And I think that would make it a little bit better. There is something that I'm missing here, and it's that typical PRS hi-fi sound. This guitar doesn't do that. That's probably in large part because of the pickups, but typically when I grab any PRS guitar, I expect to be able to dial the gain up really high and still be able to hear every note of a chord that I play. And I just don't have that level of clarity with this guitar. Not saying that it's not a good sounding guitar. I think it is, and it's very versatile, but it just doesn't give me that. It doesn't sound like a PRS. People say that PRS guitars don't have mojo, but to me, that's their mojo. That super hi-fi sound. And this one doesn't have it, so it's just a different thing. Other than that, I think the guitar is built relatively well. There were some sharp fret ends, so I think in terms of QC, I don't feel like the build quality is quite as high as it used to be out of World Musical Co. I could be wrong. Maybe it's just a couple of examples, but they used to do better work with the fretwork in my experience. And these frets are level, so it's really not too bad. It's just all these frets have sharp fret ends, some fret sprout there. So yeah, I'd like to see that improved upon. Still, all in all, it's a really good guitar. Obviously, this guitar is going to be best for Mark Holcomb fans, people that like the aesthetical look of PRS guitars, but don't necessarily like that hi-fi sound, want something a little more versatile. This would be a good option. People that really like very, very flat fingerboards, but don't want a neck that's necessarily too thin, like an Ibanez Wizard, this is a great option. It's not a super thick neck by any means, but it's much thicker than something like an Ibanez Wizard neck. So I think that, would be a great fit for you if that's what you're looking for. And yeah, aesthetically, definitely the coolest PRS SE guitar I've seen. So that's my opinion on the guitar. I think it's a good one. I just think it's a little overpriced. If it was closer to like the $899 price point, then it would make perfect sense with me. But at $1,200, I just I don't think it's that much value. I think there's other options out there for your money that might just give you a little bit more of a return on investment. But I leave it to you. What are your thoughts? What do you think about this guitar? And thank you for stopping by and watching the video. I appreciate that. And if you like this kind of content, leave me a like, comment, subscribe. do all that YouTube stuff because it helps me out. And I'll see you all in the next video. Take care and have a great rest of your day.